Look around you. Everything you see was either grown from the earth or extracted from the earth through mining. Everything. Mining is responsible for the roof over our heads, the windows we look out of, all of our electronics, the car we use to get to the store, the roads we drive on, the tools and equipment we buy, all the way down to the packaging. Without mining, our way of life ceases to exist.
These copper, yeah, so this is solid copper. These have to come from a mine site. Extension cords, light bulbs. Yeah, these come from a mine. Without mining, you don't have light bulbs. We can't turn on the lights inside our house. Okay, let me try to see if I can find something that doesn't come from a mine. Batteries have lithium in them. That comes from a mine. Ah, a plant. So if it wasn't grown, it has to be mined. So these plants. But the container that the plants are in comes from a mine site. So mining didn't bring us this beautiful plant, but it brought us the container that it goes in.
But now think of the words, phrases, images that you associate with mining. Does it seem essential to our way of life? Do you think of the massive innovations in technology, the advancements in health and safety? Literally millions of U.S. job opportunities, comfortable homes, the green revolution. Do you think of it being completely essential to our infrastructure and economy? Because you should.
We think that, oh, if I can just get an electric car where I can just now plug my car into the wall, I don't have to use gas. And that combustible engine, that emission is not going to go into the atmosphere. But all of those metals that go into electric vehicles are much more heavily dependent on mining.
Demand for cobalt and lithium and rare earth minerals and nickel and graphite, and I said that stuff is exploding. It's in the double-digit percentages growth a year because of green energy.
We have a increased focus on where things come from in our life. We want to know where our milk came from, how our chicken was processed, even the building materials, where the lumber was sourced. But we're not necessarily asking, where does my phone come from?
Your cell phone alone has 2/3 of the elements of the periodic table in it. They've come from various mines all around the world. They've been refined in different places too, and then they've been manufactured into all of the components that actually make up the phone, whether that's the batteries or the touchscreen. These current supply chains are global. This is just your cell phone. Think about all of the things you interact with on a daily basis and where these raw materials come from.
Mining has not a very good historical reputation because mines are dirty and filthy and will pollute the atmosphere. And historically, mines have a bad reputation because they were mining dirty and not clean and not repairing or reclaiming when they're done and going back to where the land can prosper again. But today, in order to permit a mine in the United States or most developed countries, you have to go through a lengthy permitting and study process.
If we're talking about promoting green energy, we need to go to the start, and that is mining these materials in an environmentally sensitive manner.
If we don't build the industry in the U.S., the materials that we need to be greener are going to be coming from somewhere else where the conditions are worse, where we're exploiting children or we have illegal mining. We have to come to a position in the U.S. where we understand the need for the minerals and we figure out the best way to develop them responsibly so that we can source the minerals we're gonna need from places that are paying attention to the welfare of the people that are extracting it.
Just in America alone, every person will need 2.96 million pounds of minerals, metals, and fuels in their lifetime. And as we transition to a way of life based more on technological improvements for everyone, this number will only continue to grow. We need to keep pace with this growth and do it in the most environmentally responsible way possible.
If you truly want to make the world a better place, you want to improve and be involved in mining. And I think as a student growing up today, if you know that you have a responsibility for this planet, you should want to get involved in mining, because that is really going to be the game-changing aspect of our future, is if I can mine safer and more efficiently.
There are different ways to extract the minerals that we need, and it depends on what we're mining for and where it's coming from. A lot of people have an image in their heads of what they think a typical mine looks like, but chances are a modern mine looks very different.
Probably one of the common misconceptions that everybody that works in a mine is working underground. Here, everything's surface mine, where we're starting from the top and working our way down.
We go in and secure all the necessary environmental permits.
After exploration, we go out and we drill and blast an area to determine where the gold is. The engineers then make a mine plan out of it, and when we drill and blast, that is at a close detail to determine where the gold is.
These are the drill hole samples that come back in, so we can see where the ore and waste splits are. We've got the ore assays in color, the waste assays in white, so that defines where our ore zone is.
And then they are able to flag out where the ore bodies are, where the waste bodies are.
They have flags everywhere, and we have engineers that go around and test everything, put all the flags down for us, let us know what's what, what's waste, what's ore. If they're pink, that means they're ore.
The loaders and trucks come in, they haul away the ore.
I am a haul truck operator, and what I'm doing is taking material to where it needs to be. Make sure it gets there from A to B in a safe manner. Some roads are smooth and some are bumpy.
So that material leaves the crusher and it's placed up on our leach pads. We will then send cyanide up through our system here, up to the pads, and let that percolate through the material. The cyanide is actually going to force the metals, the gold, silver, to bond to it, and it's going to gravity feed down to the plant. All right, so here we are in the vault, looking at our final product up here. Got additional buckets here. So these 6 buckets, total of 100,000 tons to produce. As far as the content, right around 55% gold, 40% silver. Value of that, right around $350,000.
From there, it actually starts to take the form of what we recognize as gold. And it's shipped off to a refinery and poured into gold bars. Our gold that's produced here at the Wharf Mine is not only used for finance and for jewelry. It has many common uses in our everyday life.
Gold is used in memory chips.
Our cell phones, for example, have gold in them.
We also have it in computers.
Our automobiles.
The aerospace industry uses it.
Our medical technology when we go to the hospital.
So it's widely used. Then the other side or part is it's used to back currencies. So banks and countries stock gold because it's tangible.
There's very few people that are privileged to see the earth from the inside. People either love underground or they hate underground. There's kind of no ambivalence about it. You like it or you don't. And the people that love it know they love it instantly.
When you walk up to an underground mine, you can't tell that it's a mine at all. There's a hole that you go down in an elevator in.
Most mines are about 1,000 feet deep, but they can go up to 2,500 feet or even more.
And then it's a world underneath the ground, underneath the surface, and you are looking at the earth from the inside.
Underground way here, we roughly have 2,500 miles of roadway. The city of San Francisco, by contrast, has about 1,500 miles of roadway.
It's pretty nice being underground. You don't get the rain, you don't get the snow and cold in the wintertime.
The size of the mine is pretty incredible in this area. We're roughly 11 miles by 8 miles wide, and we're only growing as we continue to expand.
This is a map of Genesis Alkali Underground. We are located right about here in the underground diesel shop. All these circles right here represent the various mine shafts. There's 9 in total. When you're working underground, you have to be a lot more creative in how you fix things. You have to be able to adapt to what you have in your surroundings. You don't have a whole lot of parts or equipment necessarily available. This is a Bobcat. It's an underground piece of machinery. I'm repairing the neutral safety switch. It's required by law that it's in operating condition. So I'm just hooking the cables back up and preparing to get this thing out of here. What my boss is hoping for.
Moving equipment around in the mine is a very, very tedious task, and it takes a lot of coordination. Our larger mining pieces of equipment, we'll disassemble them, take them down piece by piece, depending on the tonnage, and then reassemble them either in our shops or out in the work areas.
There's 1,600 feet of rock, dirt, oil, water, you name it, above your head. It's dark, it's loud, it's hot, it's dusty. It's completely different than anything you'll ever do. Some of the challenges of working down here is just it being very dark. You have the light on your head, and that's about all you have.
So right now we're 1,500 foot below grade. We're in an area where we extract trona, a mineral that we use to manufacture soda ash. It's the largest single export out of the state of Wyoming. Product is used primarily for glass. In your windshield, which weighs in the range of 20 to 30 pounds of glass, there's about 8 pounds of soda ash in that windshield, about the size of a 1-gallon milk jug. When you start mining back 40, 50 years ago, mining was often done with chisels, axes, then you started blasting. It matured to heavy equipment, and we call it bore miners or drum miners.
A bore miner made these cuts like this. There's 2 heads that spin around, 3 arms on each head. So they just go around and around continuously.
So this creates the tunnels and advances, cuts all the rock.
When a bore miner's loading rock, he can load a shuttle car in about a minute, and it's between 15 and 20 tons of rock. In an hour, hopefully you'll cut about 50 foot.
I'm a roof bolter. After they cut, I come behind them and we do 4-foot centers roof support to create an anchor that holds up the roof and makes it safe for everybody.
We later developed longwall mining technology, which is called high extraction. When you set up that longwall, you literally are moving the whole face, and you are extracting, in our case, 750 feet wide, and you have shields up above you that are basically like a lift. And that lift is holding the top up. As the shear is cutting out that face, the shields then drop and move forward.
Today, in order to permit a mine in the United States or most developed countries, you have to go through a lengthy permitting and study process.
So we're in an area that was formerly mined a year ago. We have now just finished reclamation. As you can see, this is vinyl reclamation behind me. In the back is what we have just finished this year. We've seeded and hydro-seeded, and eventually this area behind me, you can see a ski area. We'll extend the runs out onto the reclaimed area.
And when you get that reward, when you see the deer coming back in and using the area and grazing and raising their young there, you just, you feel like you've done something really good. So we're driven as an industry to ensure that we're designing new projects and operations in a way where they can be successfully closed and reclaimed. These areas are our backyard, and we want to be able to go out and take a hike through the woods one day and have no notice of the fact that mining used to occur in this area. That's our goal, to try and achieve that.
The mining industry has made incredible strides in not only reclamation and rehabilitation of the land, but in safety protocols as well. Today, mining in the U.S. is statistically one of the safest industries to work in.
Last I looked, the total injury rate for mining was roughly the same as the total injury rate for school teachers, and half the total injury rate for retail. In the 40s, you were looking at thousands of people dying. That's partly because there were a lot more people underground, it was less automated, and partly because it was more dangerous. As time went on, things improved. You don't know exactly what you're gonna find every time you take a little piece of rock out. So the challenges are huge, and folks have stepped up to deal with those kinds of challenges and done remarkable things.
Do inspections on everything first. Walk arounds, make sure nothing's leaking, make sure the tires are good, make sure nothing's broke. We got 4 cameras, one in the front, one in the back, and one on each side. So we can see all the way around us, make sure there's no small vehicles on our blind side or where we can't see them.
When you go to a mine site, you feel there's a palpable presence of a safety culture. When you go to a construction site, you won't feel it. When you go to oil field, you won't feel it. But mining especially, you will. So I think the past informs the future. We all have things to look back on in the past that we hope won't ever happen again. And so the safety culture at mines is different than it is really any other place I've been.
I manage a team of 26. It hosts a welding team, a mobile maintenance team, service techs that do the PMs and the services on the equipment. This work is super important. We try to keep the equipment running for the operations team. We're a service group for them, so anything that we can do to keep the equipment reliable and moving tons is our objective.
Good to see something go back out the door and get back in the dirt and go back to work instead of sitting there all broken down. You know, it's just rewarding to be able to fix that equipment and get it back up and working.
MSHA, the Mine Safety and Health Administration, is accountable for managing and regulating mining operations in the United States, making sure there's no death, injury, or illness to employees. That's their number one focus. That's their mission. They're down here roughly every quarter to come through and look for violations of exposures where our employees could potentially get injured. They note that, work with us to correct that, and make sure that they feel comfortable and we feel comfortable that there'll be zero injuries to our employees.
Hazards and risks here that we deal with every day, but we make sure every environment we work in is as safe as it can always be.
In terms of the future of mining safety, we're looking at incremental changes. I think automation is going to be the biggest driver of safety improvement in the next 20, 30 years.
It's going to need the top talent in the world to come together and come up with these new technologies, because that is really going to be the game-changing aspect of our future, is if I can mine safer and more efficiently.
There aren't a whole lot of jobs out there where you can be outside most of the day and enjoy the wildlife and still make a valuable product that people use, where you see that purpose in the things that you do.
I feel like the mining opportunity provides a diverse range of jobs. A lot of people think that working in mining is about operating heavy equipment, and that is a good portion of it. But you can take virtually any skill set and find a place in mining. So often the companies are committed to educating people and growing them in those areas so that they can achieve their career goals.
There's various jobs. There's truck drivers, equipment operators, dozers, blades, loaders, backhoes, warehouse people, there's accountants, controllers, environmentalists, geologists, geological engineers, mining engineers, there's metallurgics, chemical engineers, there's maintenance people, there are mechanics, electricians, hydrologists. So there's a wide range of jobs.
My dad was a mechanic for a lot of years, and so a lot of the stuff he would explain to me or have him help me do was fascinating to me. I really enjoy how all the timing of an engine works and how everything works together to make something go down the road. These Jeeps are mostly used for personnel transport, move people in and out of the mine, go to the warehouse and get parts, that type of stuff. So everything's diesel underground so that we don't have as much carbon monoxide. To be a miner and a mechanic too is pretty fun. Just knowing that that's what my dad and grandpa did with their careers too.
I am actually a third generation miner. My grandfather was a coal miner, my dad was a coal miner. Growing up, knowing what my parents did and seeing the quality of life that it provided for me, it's also been able to provide the same type of life for my family. So it's a good living.
Our average wage here starts right around $25 an hour plus benefits, and it goes all the way up to around $40 an hour. So there's a lot of opportunity, and that's for the hourly workforce. Salaries ranges anywhere from $75,000 to $150,000 a year.
I think in a lot of ways, it's the last best hope for the American dream. If you don't have a whole lot of educational opportunities and you find your way into mining and you can prove yourself as somebody with ability, and I guarantee you at this point, they will offer you some kind of path for advancement.
The mining industry is booming and has something for everyone. It's for anyone who cares about our future on this planet and wants to make it a better place. Anyone interested in chemistry, geology, engineering, mechanics, environmental studies, anyone who wants to work outside or see the world. There are so many opportunities within the industry, and it will only continue to grow as we do.
There's no going back to a world without mining.
Mining is inevitable. Mining is producing the materials that we need to live our everyday life. And you can either fight it or you can be part of the solution. When I graduated from college, I knew that I wanted to save the world, but I didn't know how I wanted to do it. And if you would have asked me if I thought mining was a way to do that, I probably would have thought you were crazy. But here I am, all these years later, saving the world one day at a time, working for a mining company.
I feel like I'm one of the luckiest people on the planet because I got to be part of it.
So looking forward to when my son is my age, the doctor and lawyer profession may not be the top tier profession, but I can tell you that mining will be far more important to our civilization if we're going to get to this net zero and you know, low carbon and zero emissions. But it'll take somebody today that is contemplating, should I be a doctor or should I go into mining? That picks mining and then drives that advancement of that technology and really propels our world to a more responsible place in our history, wherever we are at. I can tell you that mining will be required.
I am a miner.
I'm a miner.
I am a miner.
I am a miner.
A miner.
A miner.
A miner.